And I helter-skelter around a little finger, and I ride it endlessly. She's got a Arabella silver swimsuit, and when she needs to shelter from reality, she takes a dip in my daydream. My days end best when the sunset gets itself behind that little lady sitting on the passenger side. It's much less picturesque without her catching the light. The horizon tries, but it's just not as kind on the eye. Arabella's got a 70s head, but she's a modern lover, it's an exploration. She's made of outer space, and her lips are like the galaxy's edge, and her kiss the color of a constellation falling into place. My days end best when the sunset gets itself behind that little lady sitting on the passenger side. It's much less picturesque without her catching the light. The horizon tries, but it's just not as kind on the eye.
Okay, here we go. Coming at you with a massive drum track. This is Arabella by the Arctic Monkeys. This is Matt Helder playing the drums, playing some really slick stuff. So let's get into it. The biggest challenge in the song is left foot hi-hat. So he's doing a lot of that while he plays other things around the drums. Tricky, right? If you've never done that before, it's going to be hard to get started. So I'm going to lay out some strategies for that. That's probably going to be the biggest challenge, I would say. Other than that, pretty straightforward. We got a handful of nice grooves, which I'm going to rip through right now. So verse groove. Right, super simple. Quarter notes on the hi-hat, which is a nice touch. Right, not so bad. Chorus groove. 3 variations on this thing, okay? Again, we're kind of rocking a quarter note thing on the crash cymbal. Right, and that's it in its simplest form. That's what the bass drum and the snare drum are doing. So the variations on that, sometimes later on, I guess when the actual chorus hits, then later in the song, he's going to add a bass drum and go. Select moments in the song, he's going to add one more on the end of 2 and then the end of 4. Right, so that's your chorus groove material. Third groove in the bridge. Finally, we're doing 8th notes on the hats. And he's playing this pattern. 20th notes, snare, and bass drum. Right, nice. Kind of a tricky thing to get used to. There's a lot of bass drum action. You could always simplify this. You could do that. That's not a bad idea. So you could do something like, or if that was even too hard, you could just throw a couple of bass drums in there. Right, so lots of different options to make that easier if you're struggling with the right foot, because it's a lot. There's a lot going on. Okay, on to the meat. So in both those verses, once we get to the case in point, left foot's just going to go through these sections, right? And so this can be pretty intimidating because he's playing a whole bunch of different stuff through this part. For instance, right? Right, so that's intimidating because, there's some fast notes in there, there's some complicated rhythms. But the first thing we need to do is just break this down. He actually kind of builds into the harder moments in the songs, which is nice because the first thing he does is, right, simple quarter notes. You can think about them as half notes if you wanted to. I would just think about them as quarters, not playing on the second count, but right, so the first thing we would want to get comfortable with is being able to play things in unison with our left foot. If we've never done this before, right? If this is the first time you're even thinking about getting your left foot in on the action, you just want to make sure that you can play notes with your left foot. Messing around, but basically any of those unison notes should feel comfy, right? That's the easy part. The harder part is going to be playing things that don't line up with your left foot, right? And we're definitely going to want it to go slow for this, okay? So the first thing I would recommend is just trying to fill the space in between those left foots, and you can do that anywhere on the drum set. Probably going to feel very challenging, and you can go really slow. Right? You could also, and you're going to need to, do some combinations of things on and off the beat, right? So one nice way to get started doing that is to just play 16th notes, because I guess these are eighths in our left foot, right? So 16th notes, 2 notes per left foot. Alright, get nice and comfy with those because we're going to need those in several of the fills. So we have a couple sneaky little 16ths in there. The nice thing is we don't have to play a lot of them. He just kind of sneaks a few, but most of that stuff, not rhythm with the exception of one note, is unison with the left foot. Not so bad. Not so bad. The next thing you're going to have to get used to in the second set of fills in the second verse is this idea of putting the bass drum in between your hi-hats, right? And this is going to probably feel in some ways even more challenging than doing our hands. But simplest thing you can do first, right, get used to that action. The actual fill that he's going to play is a combination of a few things. But if you can't put your bass drum in between by itself, you're not going to be able to do the rest of it, right? So that's the first step. If that's comfy, then you can start to add a hand too. So that's right hand in unison with our hi-hat, bass drum in between. So get really comfy with that, you could do it with either hand. That'd be really good to practice. You don't necessarily need it for this song, but go further than the song demands of you, right? So both hands. And then because of the phrasing of this fill, right, we have like a little 3-beat phrase there. Da bo da ch, da bo da ch. So one way I encourage my students to practice this is to just carry on with that 3-beat phrase longer than we would have to in the song. So just keep it going. You don't have to necessarily get that creative with it, but you want to get comfortable with that little move so that we can go. Right, that's familiar material at the end there. Da da da. Same sort of idea that he played in the first verse. He's repeating himself. That's nice. It's thematic. This guy, he might have studied some music in his time. Okay, now we're into the trickier stuff. So the other main thing that we need to get used to with our left foot, and just to have going on for several moments in the song in general, are triplets. Okay, and in this song, we're thinking 16th note triplets. They're going to line up with our hi-hat 3 for every click. Okay, so we're trying to play 3 notes with our hands against 1 note in the hi-hat. And that's where I would start. Trying to just do that out of context by itself. If that's feeling good, you might want to even spend some time moving that around the drums. Here's one little move you could do. Snare, high, floor, snare. Snare, high, floor, snare. So it's a 4-count phrase, right? Great. If that's feeling good, when we also start to explore the other triplet rhythm that he plays, which is that, but just leaving out 1 note. So rather than going, he's going to go, sorry. You notice my sticking here. Right, right, left, right, left. That's going to mean that our right hand continues to be on the beat. I'm taking out 1 triplet. Instead of going triplet, 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 triplet. Right? So I'm gonna play the note that's missing on the high tom just so you can hear where it would be. Right? And this is for probably the biggest fill in the song, where he's going. So he has both of the things we just talked to are in there, right? We're doing that rhythm I just showed you, and straight triplets at the end. This is preceded by a cool little syncopated thing he does, which is. Really nice. He puts this in a really nice place. Okay, so those triplet rhythms, work those up to speed. There's nothing really to it besides trying to get as comfortable and as fast with those rhythms as you can. There's no secret. You just gotta go slow and make it feel good. And then the other cool little fill coming out of the bridge, another triplet bass fill. This time we don't have to worry about our left foot happening. He's not doing that. So all he's gonna do is, which is pretty slick. So we have 2 groups of triplets there, starting with the hi-hat, and then this move, which is awesome. have it. That's the meat of Arabella. There's more little details and some tricky moments, but if you work through that stuff like I just did, you're going to be well on your way. It's going to be a good time. Okay, until next time.